Hello, welcome to another video. So today we are working on the Voge 300 Rally, which I'm riding now. In a couple of months' time we will be heading to the south of France and then riding the Aoocci across the Pyrenees all the way back to northern Spain. There will be several hundred miles or a couple of thousand kilometers of off-road trails, but we do need to get down to the south of England and then all the way down to the south of France using the main roads and back roads and motorways. So today we're going to be looking at changing the rear sprocket on the 300 just to give it some extra cruising speed at 60 miles an hour on the motorways. So we're on a ride now with the standard gearing, and we're just going to have a look at how it pulls in different gears and what its cruising speed's like at say 60 or at a push 70 miles an hour, and then we'll compare that after we've changed the sprocket to see what difference it makes. So at the moment we're doing 30 miles an hour at just about 3,000 revs in 6th. We can set off obviously comfortably in first, but you're looking at about 15 miles an hour before you change to second, just for it to be a nice smooth getaway. And then you're already in fourth by 25 miles an hour. So just to show how low geared this bike is, we're going to try and set off in second, just see if we can set off normally. A tiny bit of clutch slip required, but still, by 30 miles an hour you're already at 4,000 revs and going into 5th gear. When off-road trail riding on this bike, you very rarely need to use first gear on normal green lanes and trails, which is what this bike will be doing. And with the Aoocci being wider tracks, we're hoping that it doesn't need to be that low geared, that the two less teeth on the back will make much difference. So when accelerating on this bike, it does seem to have a bit of a vibration comes through the seat at about 6,000, 7,000 revs. It almost feels like it's a shift light, but it just vibrates your balls. Right, let's get this bike up to 60 miles an hour and see how it pulls through the gears and how it cruises at 60 with the standard gearing. Let's go! There we go, we're doing 60 in 6th now, bang on 6,000 revs. Right, don't tell the bobbies what we're doing. Briefly doing 70 now at just over 7,000 revs. A little bit over the national speed limit there, but we were doing it for science. I'll put the ratios up on the screen here of the stock gearing and what it is if you change the front or the rear sprockets. We may find that 2 is a good compromise, but we also may find that 2 is not enough or not enough of a change to make it worthwhile, and we should have gone down maybe 3 teeth on the back. So standard, I believe, is a 48. And we are going to go down to a 46. Now there also is a 45 tooth sprocket available, which would be another option for more cruising speed at lower revs. Another option is to put a larger front sprocket on, which depending on the ratios, 1 tooth going up on the front is the same as coming 3 teeth down on the back. but this has a plastic chain guard that goes over the front sprocket, which means you need to cut that away to be able to fit a larger sprocket. So we've decided to keep the front sprocket standard, keep the original chain guard standard, and go down 2 teeth on the rear. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is just remove this wheel, and then we'll get the sprocket changed over. Was that a wheel spacer falling out? Of course it was. Was that another wheel spacer falling out? And there we go. Well, I'll edit that down, but that was 1 minute 30 seconds to get the wheel out. So to remove the sprocket, you need a hex 6mm on one side, and then there is a 13mm nut on the back side. If only you had an electrical device that could do that for you. His nuts are going everywhere and he just doesn't care. And there we go, that's the sprocket off. So you'll see with the standard sprocket, there's a plate riveted on which stops the chain getting wedged if it does come off the sprocket. And this is the new JT sprockets, the 46 tooth going on. So the reason the sprocket looks as it does is because it's been sprayed with XCP rust blocker, just to give it that extra protection before we put it on. So just to look at the locking nuts that go on the back of the sprocket. So that's the sprocket back in place now. We just need to tighten these up to the correct torque, which is about 50 to 55 Newton torquey bobbles. So now we're just going around each one with a torque wrench and just making sure that it's about 50 Newton meters. Final torque check done. We can then get this back on the bike. So this is the wheel going back in the bike now. We still have the standard chain length, but with the rear sprocket being smaller, it will need to be further back in the swing arm to be able to get the correct chain tension. So we might need to remove a link out of the chain to give us some chain adjustment. Otherwise, it's going to be right at the back, and as your chain stretches, you won't have any more adjustment. So as you can see there, just roughly, it is quite far back now. So we may take a link out of that chain just to be able to get it further forward and give you more adjustment for the future. So out comes the wheel again. So this is the old trusty chain splitter we've had for about 25 years. Right, so with the splitter in place, we can now hit that with a hammer, and that should drive the pin all the way out. So with the pin removed, that's the chain split. And then we just need to remove a whole link out of that, and then we can put it back together. So what we're going to do is just knock this second pin out, and then we'll just put a brand new link in. Now we have the chain ends like this, we'll get a new link and put that back on with a new split link or new rivets. So we've got two options here. We can either put the chain together using the split link and then put the wheel in and try and get the chain over. So we might try that first just to see whether or not we can get the wheel in with the chain being that short. Right, so let us build this chain up just to see if we can get the wheel in. So there you go, that's the chain now back together, you see. So now we can see if we can get this wheel back in place. We'll wind that all the way in, I think. So now we've wound those all the way in, we've got the best chance of the chain being able to go over the wheel when we push the wheel all the way forward. Right. So now we've got the wheel in and pushed all the way forward, we can see that we will be able to get this through here like that. And there is still plenty of slack. So by putting it on the sprocket like this, we should be able to get the new link in because it should be perfectly lined up. So that's the link pushed through now. So we'll get the X-ring seals on and the new plate, and then we'll rivet those pins. So we're just using this to press the plates on before we put the peening pin in. So we've just used the tool there to push the plates over the pins before we get the peening pin in, and then we'll just knock this to rivet those pins over. And now that's the pins splayed out. So they're hollow pins, so they splay outwards to create a seal. So that's going to be plenty for the power of this bike. So we'll class that as done, and then we'll give it a ride now. Right then, we're back out now on a test ride with the 46 tooth sprocket on the back. So we're now cruising along at 35, which is still doable in 6th gear. So it's about 3,000 revs, 3,250 revs now at an indicated 35. But we can see we've got the Garmin on there now, and that's actually showing only 31, 32. So the indicated speed on the bike is a little higher than the GPS, but that's pretty much to be expected with all bike speedos nowadays. So just like last time, we'll set off in first just to see how it feels and how it pulls. Now we'll try setting off in second to see if it's still got that low gear to be able to do that. Again, a little bit of clutch slip, but nothing too bad really. You could still set off in second, but you wouldn't really want to when you've got first gear, save the clutch. So one of the difference today is we have the cameras in auto mode again because we don't have the ND filters with us. So if you can notice a difference on the motion blur and the cloud definition and things, that will be because of the ND filters. So it'll be interesting for me to see as well which looks better. So we're at the same spot as last time, and now we're going to go up to 60 and see exactly how it compares. So we're at an indicated 60 now, and it's probably dropped the revs by about 250, 300 revs. It's hard to tell on that speedo. But basically that is actually showing 55 miles per hour on the GPS, so we can see that the indicated 60 is actually 55 on the GPS, and it's about 5,700 revs. So that's an indicated 70, still showing just about 7,000 revs. But we are actually only showing 64 on the GPS on the sat-nav. With this rev counter on this bike, showing it as a bar graph going up in segments, you only get like 3 squares or 3 segments between each 1,000 revs. So it was just flickering between 2 different segments there. If there's 3 segments for 1,000 revs, then you're talking like 333 revs per segment. So it was just flickering between the 2 segments there at 70. So my initial impressions is that it hasn't made that much difference. You've only gone down 2 teeth, but it will make a bit of a difference over maybe 1,000 miles. You're probably about 200, 300 RPM less at 60 miles an hour. The good side of that is it shouldn't affect the off-road capabilities on the trail, but I can understand why people go down to 45 teeth on the back. Just that one extra tooth might make even more of a difference. Fortunately, we didn't need a new chain, and it was just a case of taking one link out and then buying a rivet link. But the sprockets aren't expensive either, so you could experiment. Perhaps we can go down to a 45 before June. So as always, thanks very much for watching that, and I hope that's been of some use to you, so you know exactly how the bike is affected by changing that rear sprocket. If you've enjoyed that, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you at the next video. See you later. Bye bye.